genre.
Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Nick Jimenez.
I'm Scott Corelli.
And I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
And today on the show, we will be discussing Remembrance of the Daleks, the seventh Doctor's fifth story, and this is a whale of a tale, if I do say so myself.
I feel like that is how you intro every story that you do the introduction.
I usually say, "Oh, what a story it is," but
yeah,
this truly is. This is a big one. This is a big one.
Yeah, no, it's true. So, Remembrance of the Daleks, of course, written by Ben Aronovich. This is his first story for Doctor Who. He would go on to write Battlefield, which is one of Cass and I's favorite stories ever.
Yeah.
So he went on to write Battlefield after this. Actually, he started writing it before this, and then they liked what he was turning in. They're like, actually, we have this Dalek story we're doing. Can you write that too? So he stopped writing Battlefield and wrote this, and then went back to Battlefield. But with Remembrance of the Daleks, John Nathan Turner knew that they were going into their 25th season and wanted to do something special for the season premiere. So what his idea was, just let's do a Dalek story. That's it. We haven't seen the Daleks in a while. Let's do a Dalek story. And then when they gave it to Aronovich, he decided to tie it into an unearthly child, to have the hand of Omega, and which was originally Rassilon, but then they changed it because John Nathan Turner was bigger into Omega because he was created during his tenure, I guess. So he was I don't know. So they changed it to Omega. Guys, okay, let me ask your opinion of this, and let's get the listeners' opinion of this as well. I remember early on in this show, before you guys were co-hosts, we did an episode that had Omega as a villain, and we kept referring to this particular character as Omega because that's what it spelt like, and we got yelled at. I don't
look.
I at this point I still feel weird about saying Omega. I know that's how they're pronouncing it, but like it feels to me like a tinnitus situation.
I kind of have this reminds me of a story that I don't like to tell a lot because it's really embarrassing for me, but it very directly has to do with what we're talking about in more ways than one. So once upon a time, I watched Vincent and the Doctor for the first time. I was
the go goth
situation. And so I had never heard anyone ever in the world say Vincent Van Gogh. But everyone in that episode said it with such authority and command, and like it was normal, that I was like, well, maybe that's just the way you're supposed to pronounce it. So like later on that week, we were at a Cheddar's, and I was with some friends, and we were talking about art.
Cheddar's. Well, there's your first
we
mistake.
were young, okay? The burgers there are like $5. And so we were talking about artists or something, or Starry Night came up, and I just tried it out, the way you do, and I just called him Van Gogh, and I'll never forget the look my friend Leah gave me, of just like, what are you doing? And so I choose personally to err to I always err to my dialect. Even if it sounds a bit funny to the other people, I'd rather do that than feel like the total Millhouse that I felt like in that moment.
Yeah, because it feels to me an American calling him Omega feels like an American pronouncing Barcelona.
Yeah, or like, I'm not going to say A to Z, even if I'm talking to like Daniel Craig, because then it's like I'm pandering to him in a weird way.
Right.
You know what? Yeah.
So like you know what? I'm putting my foot down. It's Omega. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm calling him Omega.
I'm just now unlearning saying Hispanic things in their natural dialect because it used to freak my friends out. I'd be like, they'd be like,
but I feel like that's
it is
okay.
because that's mine. It is because that's mine.
Yeah, but you're allowed.
Anyway, that was
I
me
think.
mentally thinking about what just dialects and how they affect us. But no, I can get where that kind of, hey, you're saying it wrong is coming from. And so I guess I would say is I agree with you. I think we are saying it incorrectly from the source material, but it just feels more natural for us.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you think too, Cass?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Pronunciation. It is like the A to Z thing. Like, we would never say Z, we say Z. So it makes no sense for us to say Omega.
Yeah.
I guess
all right, good. Because I said it like 4 times that way, and I felt weird every single time.
I felt weird hearing it, but you know what I did though, because I trust your authority on Doctor Who. It's also a noun. It's also a proper noun in this context. It's a dude's name. Mm-hmm. So so maybe you could argue that Omega is this dude's name. But I don't know. Maybe we need someone. Maybe we need Jack Harkness to like mention him, and whatever he says, that's what we'll say.
Oh, that's good. All right, somebody get on that. Big Finish.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody American.
Yeah, please. Write someone American pronouncing his name.
Wasn't Omega introduced in The Three Doctors?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about
because
him
I
in that.
distinctly remember John Pertwee saying "Omega."
Omega.
Like, forever.
Omega.
It really, it just sounds like saying it that way with an American accent sounds like I'm a Valley girl going, "Oh my god." Oh my god, you'll never believe what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm glad you made that joke because
I'm just thinking about like
Valley
everything, like Valley Daleks, like Valley Doctor Who.
So anyway, they changed it from Rassilon to Omega. Maybe the reason for that was then because he was introduced during an anniversary thing, and they thought, let's keep the anniversary thing going. In any event, I'll be honest, the story of this episode, I've really talked about the most interesting thing, except for one bit, because it really just kind of came together with no real issues.
Which proves our emerging theory right now, which is the crazier the story, the more boring the episode.
Yeah, a little bit. But here there is one really interesting bit that I think is pretty cool, which is that at this point, Sylvester McCoy had played the Doctor for a season and wasn't thrilled with the way that he had been able to portray the Doctor, and wanted to grow the character. And so he wanted to take him in more of a, I hesitate to use the phrasing darker direction, but darker direction had a different connotation than it does back then than it does now, which now you say a darker direction, everyone's like, ugh, Snyder, Nolan, blarf. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like that back then. It was just I want to be less goofy, and I want the character to be taken a little more seriously. And so knowing that going into this episode, there was actually a bit that was written that was cut They wanted to bring the sort of mystery back to the Doctor and add some things to his backstory that hadn't been there before. They wanted to retcon some extra stuff in. And one of the things that they wrote in this episode that Aronovich wrote was a section that ultimately got cut from the episode because everything ran long, which is actually one of the reasons why Andrew Morgan never returned to the show, because all of the episodes ran long and over budget. And they were like, well, you gave us a bad episode in Time in the Ronnie. Then you gave us an all-time classic, but you were over budget, so you're never going to work for Doctor Who ever again.
Man.
Yeah. So anyway, so the writer Aronovich, he wrote this scene that ultimately got cut for time, where the Doctor was talking to, I think, one of the Daleks or Davros. I forget which it was supposed to be. But the idea was that it is Davros. Davros accuses the Doctor of merely being another Time Lord. And the Doctor responds that he is far more than just another Time Lord. And this was ultimately cut from the episode. But what it was going to be explicitly stating the new direction that the script editor, Andrew Cartmel, and Aronovich wanted to take the character, and McCoy, which was that they wanted to suggest that the Doctor was in fact a shadowy figure from Gallifreyan legend called the Other, which was one of the three pillars of Time Lord society alongside Rassilon and Omega. So it ended up getting cut, and then it didn't really end up being a thing. But originally, that was the plan for this season, was to start introducing this concept. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
Well, there is still that line that he says when he's talking. He's explaining what the Hand of Omega is, and he says like, "Oh, the testing gave us a bunch of problems," or something like that. And he uses like the singular, or not the singular, but the first person plural, like indicating that he was there.
Right.
So that's still in the story. I kind of like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why not? It's time travel.
Sure. I think I'd have to sit with it, and I'd have to see how they dealt with it, I guess, if they ever did. But it certainly changes his origin, because then it's like, well, I don't know. Like, how long was he the first Doctor then? And was that the first Doctor, or is this like a War Doctor situation where he was the Other for a while, and then became the Doctor?
I think it's Brain of Morbius. We see a bunch of like the Doctor's previous faces, quote unquote,
True.
just like random dudes.
Right. Not so random. They were like writers of the show.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Old white guys.
Yeah.
So we see a bunch of their faces. So if the Doctor's been alive much longer than just his first Doctor incarnation, that jives with that.
True. Very true.
I know we're like deep diving.
Oh no, but this
right
is what
now.
we're here for.
Yeah.
This is what you came for.
It's the good stuff. It's the good stuff.
Man, yeah. I don't even know. We could be in the super minority on this in the fandom, but I would be so down for future eras of the show to just really get like Game of Thronesy. Maybe not that big, but I just really nerd out when it comes to like Gallifreyan culture and like Time Lord culture and like that whole mythology.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that it's been so poorly done in the past that I think that there's a lot of space to reinvent the wheel a little bit.
You know what it is? It's kind of like the writing equivalent of like those really great pulp magazine covers, where you'd be like, "What is that?" And then you'd read it, and it's like, "Oh, this is kind of just like Star Wars, I guess." but the art and the covers would be so like trippy and weird. Maybe that like it's like that's the Time Lord stuff. Is it looks so cool, and then you read what is canon actually, and it's kind of meager.
Right. I mean, they did go to war with vampires.
Oh, dude, I want.
Yeah,
I want
see,
all
that's
of
right
that.
there waiting for us.
Oh, that's so stupid.
It's so awesome.
It's so
Giant space vampires. Hell yeah!
God, that's so dumb. I hate it. I hate
See?
it so much.
Really?
See
Yeah.
how different we are,
Oh my god!
listeners. See how diverse our opinions can be.
One of us likes space vampires, and the other one does not.
And one of them is like, it could work. Stranger things have happened.
I'd watch
I like
it.
dinosaurs on a spaceship, so I might not be the dude to ask. And the one where he meets the devil himself. So
Yeah.
I like that
Oh,
one
I like
too.
that.
Yeah, see, I don't like that one either. I don't like supernatural
Yes,
stuff.
I get it,
think,
and I
in
get
my
it.
Doctor Who.
I really do, because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
But they're not supernatural.
But they're
They're
vampires,
aliens.
so they are.
They live off of blood.
But they're vampires. Those are not aliens. Those are not.
sure. It's like it.
Gross.
it's
like
gonna take forever.
Yeah,
to get
it's
to
like
that
why would
episode.
the Holy
I'm so
Cross
sad.
work on a space vampire? You know. No, even here.
But you like Battlefield.
Is Battlefield
Yeah, I
supernatural?
do like Battlefield. It's got Morgana.
It's like,
It's like
yeah, it's
the
like
third
Space
ever like witch.
Yeah. I feel like there's something not so supernatural in that
I'm
one,
excited
though, and
to.
that's why I don't.
I'm excited
Space
to figure out.
Knights?
Is it kind of like Krull? See, what do you guys consider Krull? Krull science fiction or is Krull fantasy?
I don't know. I've never seen.
Whoa, Krull's crazy. It's like an '80s. They're probably gonna. I almost said something really dirty. They're probably gonna really enjoy
they
it. In Ready
reboot-
Player One. There's probably gonna be some Krull references. In Ready Player One.
Didn't they reboot Kroll with Kevin Sorbo at some point?
Ooh.
Isn't that a thing?
No,
Or-
I mean probably, and I just didn't know about it.
I feel like that was a thing in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Let me look at this.
Something. I might be remembering something else. Yeah, it was like Kroll the Conqueror or something like that, I think it was called. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, we're talking about Krull.
In any event.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah, so in any event, that's Remembrance of the Daleks. It's not it's just a classic episode, but there's not a lot of behind the scenes details about it. I was surprised that all of the references to an unearthly child in this story were all Aronovich's idea, not because in the past, like a lot of stuff like that has been like John Nathan Turner's idea, and the fact that his only idea was just like, put the Daleks in it, I guess.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Like, that was it.
It's a real Edgar Wright, Peyton Reed problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aronovich, honestly, I think theoretically could have been like a next generation Robert Holmes if the show had kept going.
Yeah, that's what's so...
Because I think he's really good.
What's so interesting about this era of the show behind the scenes is you are starting to see the train slow down.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, right. They didn't get to age the way we got to see the past eras of the show really live and die and rebirth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Sure.
Live, die, repeat.
Especially because it takes him like a full season to get to this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like this is my favorite Seventh Doctor is when he's like manipulative and calculating and like the term that people use a lot is like chess master or seven.
Yeah.
Which is so
that's a big
interesting.
fan.
Yeah, it's
because
really good.
I agree with you. You know, coming from someone who's watching this dude, for the first time, I was like, oh wow, he is less Radagast the Brown now in this. But it was so interesting watching it and being affected by it while having just like dunked on 6 for like the fourth episode in a row. You know. So it's interesting how like it when the Doctor is this kind of morally gray or maybe not so huggable. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they figured out the right balance, which is that he can be a dick to other people as long as he's not a dick to his companions.
Right. Yeah. We're very weird. Our Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like it's what we like and don't like.
Mm-hmm. Because we see ourselves as the companion. So when the Doctor's a dick to their companion, it's like, that's us. You're being mean to us. Like, stop it. Stop being mean to us.
Dad.
Dad.
Oh no.
Has anyone ever called the Doctor Dad?
Not
My dad.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how. One of my many favorite things about Ace is just her way of calling the Doctor Professor, and so I've just been thinking about other wrong things someone could call the Doctor.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking around it. So let's just talk about Remembrance of the Daleks, the final Dalek story, the final televised Dalek story of Classic Who. So in part one, I guess right off the bat, I gotta ask, because we've been talking about her, and we met her in the last season of Long Way Around. But I really want to know, Nick, what your feelings, having gone through this whole story now, a whole story with her. What do you think of Ace?
Oh man, I mean, she's far and away. God, I don't know. I feel like I've already been so into all of the other companions, and my words feel so empty at this point. But yeah, I do feel like Ace might be my favorite companion. She's just so cool in this episode, and like her jacket is so cool, and she. I don't know if we want to go like out of order, but she does something very cool.
Yeah, right. I mean, she's introduced holding a boombox on her shoulders. For street cred.
She reminds me a lot of my favorite Peanuts character, which is Peppermint Patty. Where she doesn't get like basic stuff about this operation and how it works, and yet she is exemplary at so much that other companions aren't. Like, I think she's got to be one of the more dangerous companions. A companion that could, get herself out of crazy situations and with extreme prejudice. Like, not even like in a like Nick of Time way, but like laying dudes out.
Well, she's packing explosives.
Yeah. And I love her big puffy jacket. I love all the patches on it. And I also really like her bee outfit when she's just rocking like a white t-shirt with like a band logo on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just all about Ace. I think Sophia Aldred, is that
Yeah. So
Sophie Aldred is great performance, and I think it just hits the sweet spot of the show just now starting to feel modern for me and these characters, and I think the Seventh Doctor and Ace are such a great companionship and such a great chemistry, especially coming after, how we don't like watching Six and Mel a lot because of how sad it makes us.
Right.
So it's so fun to watch like a really cool dynamic right afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Remembrance of the Daleks, Part 1. Written by Ben Aronovich. Directed by Andrew Morgan. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Andrew Cartnell. Original air date October 5th, 1988. The Doctor arrives with Ace in 1963 London to pick up the Hand of Omega, or, if you really prefer, the Hand of Omega, which he hid on Earth back when he was played by William Hartnell. Meanwhile, the Daleks, the universe's favorite disasters, also search London for the Hand of Omega. The Daleks have splintered into two separate factions of Daleks, those who still swear allegiance to the Daleks' creator Davros, and those who think Davros sucks now. The military arrives at Coal Hill School due to the excess of alien activity. A renegade Dalek spins madly about in a junkyard, giving the military a heck of a time until the Dalek and Ace arrive and blow it up. The duo meet Captain Gilmore and Professor Jensen and warns the humans that engaging with the Daleks will only result in valuable human deaths as opposed to utterly useless Dalek deaths. A group of fascist humans known as the Association have allied with the renegade Daleks because the Daleks are basically fascists, but the Imperial Daleks have their own ace in the hole, the mind-controlled principal of Coal Hill School. While exploring Coal Hill to find out more clues about these new Dalek factions, the Doctor is locked in a cellar and menaced by a lone Imperial Dalek.
So they are in 1963 in this, and we're hanging out at I Am Foreman Scrapyard and Coal Hill School, all tying into Unearthly Child. And we have a sort of government organization that the Doctor is sort of placing himself in. There's that bit where he sees like the weird van, and he's like walking around, and he's looking at it, and then he follows the strange little girl and scopes out her hopscotch, and then he just goes back to the van and just dives into the van and just starts touching stuff. And the lady's just like, well, this guy seems to know what he's doing. Just rolls with it, which is a very weird reaction. But I guess what we find out is like, this government, whatever, this government, what do you call them? An organization? What would you, military?
Yeah, they're military, right? They're not
group?
unit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
A branch?
Right. No, they're not unit because they're proto-unit. I think it's largely
The association?
understood that. Yeah, like
No, they were the fascists.
Yeah. I think it's largely, isn't it? It's understood that this is like the origin of unit, right? To a certain extent. This experience, this.
Yeah, you're
Remembrance of the
totally right,
Daleks.
but I that my head didn't go there at all. That's awesome.
But I think it is. I think that this is the reason why unit was started.
Okay, because unit is in that second Doctor story with the Yetis, right?
Right, which would have been after
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. I also love that. I love that the Doctor was in town and then left, and the Daleks were there, like hunting for whatever he was, what he was doing with the hand of Omega, and he just like he didn't. I guess he just didn't realize it, and the first Doctor wasn't aware of the Daleks yet,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we saw him. There's a lot of. I mean,
so interesting.
A special somewhere blows up at the end of this, and I don't think they ever deal with that in a proper way.
No, because that's not real. It's pretty much been erased from canon that happened.
Yeah, I know, but I saw it happen, Scott.
Yeah, but did you?
Yeah, I know.
This guy that Ace meets in the diner, he has an arc. This guy,
he does.
He has a hell of an arc over the course of this story. Because when you meet him, you like. I mean, I don't know. You kind of like him. You kind of can't help yourself. You know, he's pretty. He's got a cool jacket. He makes the pop
Ace immediately spots.
workout. Yeah.
Oh, fellow jacket wearer, eh?
And he's like into Ace, even though she's like, kind of crass and not a normal type of woman for 1963, but he's like into it, which kind of endears you to him a little bit too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. His arc really does bum me out in this story because I'm like, oh, he started out like an okay guy. Like, I don't know. So we meet a group captain, this military group, and the Doctor tries to call him Brigadier and then corrects himself, which I like.
I did that in my head while watching this a couple times.
Yeah. I love that they blow up the doors when they're looking for the Daleks in the scrapyard, and they blow up the doors, and Ace just comes running out of nowhere and just like, "Oh, did you see that? That was awesome!" She just loves explosions so much. Bless her heart.
She's great.
She knows what she loves.
She appreciates the art of it.
Yeah. She's like, I mean, it's not a super advanced explosion, but it's an impressive one.
Whoa, what was that? It's like, oh, now I know where I am. I know where I'm at again. I know where I am.
Yeah. And then the doctor is gonna blow up a Dalek and just is like, "Hey, can I borrow some bombs?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure, here you go."
Pulls them out of her magic bag.
Yeah. Her magic bag of bombs. Which is pretty great.
Oh man. So, guys, I have in the time that we've been talking, I've actually opened up 2 new tabs on my computer. One is I Google image Doctor Who Ace, and like 80% of these photos, she's brandishing like a machine gun or like a bat or
accurate
a boombox or like a spray paint can. But she's like so happy about it. Like she doesn't look like angry. It just really. And then I also, listeners, if you're out there, there's a really cool action figure of Ace, specifically from Remembrance of the Daleks. It's $43, and I'm not going to pretend that that's not a lot, but she's holding a bazooka in the action figure.
She's hashtag on brand.
Hashtag on brand.
So I think one of my favorite gags in this is in the first episode, and it's a very modern joke, which is that they get into a car and Ace is driving, and the doctor is passenger seat driving and just complaining about everything she does. She's like, "Well, if you don't like it, why don't you drive?" And then you cut outside, and then you cut back in, and then they've switched places. And I just really like that joke.
And Ace is like bewildered. She's like, "What just happened?"
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really good. And then there's this really fun reference to, they go to Coal Hill School because they realize that the Daleks are coming from there, like a particular energy is coming from there, and they go to Coal Hill School to scope it out, and they meet up with the dean of the Coal Hill School, and he's like, he introduces himself as the doctor, and he's like, "Oh, that's I mean, you're a little overqualified, but if you want the caretaker job, you can leave your resume." And I was like, the caretaker job at the Coal Hill School, and the doctor, and the he does that later.
And everything about the alluding to, and like it being set in 63, and it does feel very ahead of its time. Like it's embracing the mythology in such a loving but nuanced way that we would see Moffat do really well, but it's weird seeing it in 88.
Yeah, well, and I just like that they are offering him the caretaker job at Coal Hill School, and then the 12th Doctor does that.
I didn't realize that was a reference to anything when the caretaker came out, because we hadn't seen this in a while, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, finger guns, that's awesome."
Yeah, totally. And then the cliffhanger to this episode is really great, which is that the doctor's just like, "Quick, up the stairs," and the Dalek is like, "LOL, stairs," and then just like floats up, and
so
it's like, "Oh no, they can get up the stairs now."
I thought that in Dalek, that Ninth Doctor story, I thought that was the first time Daleks could climb stairs.
Apparently not.
I wouldn't even like remembered this. Like, oh yeah, that one time that I was trapped in a stairwell and the Dalek followed me.
Y'all ready for this?
Well, I guess you
look
could...
what I can do.
Well, but based on the end of Remembrance of the Daleks, maybe Remembrance of the Daleks isn't technically canon anymore.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So that could be the problem here.
Okay.
I don't know. But in any event,
I love
that. Well, I guess we'll find out because we're gonna watch Dalek in like 2 episodes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So there we go.
That classic.
Anything else in episode 1?
Oh man, I mean, no. Emotionally, yeah, but I want to keep going.
All right.
Remembrance of the Daleks, Part 2. Written by Ben Aronovich. Directed by Andrew Morgan. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Andrew Cardinal. Original air date, October 12th, 1988. The Doctor and Ace manage to avoid extermination, and Ace even shoots a Dalek in the face with a bazooka. Mike Smith, a member of the association, finds and attempts to subdue the headmaster of Coal Hill School, but the Imperial Dalek terminates his brain before he can talk. The Doctor finds the Hand of Omega and hides it in a cemetery, but it is quickly excavated by the association. Ace, bloodlust already setting in, wanders around looking for more Daleks to kill. She finds a swarm of them, but forgets how to use her bazooka, and is surrounded by them with nowhere to hide.
So, episode 2, in which stairs won't stop a Dalek, but a locked door definitely will.
Yeah.
Is how we resolve that cliffhanger. They just go through a door, lock it, and run away. And then the Daleks immediately burst through it, which is
Boom!
pretty great.
Yeah.
There's a Dalek in this, one of the white Daleks. Very aggressive exterminate.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. One of them is, and not the one that looks like Marvin the android that we meet later, but yeah, like one of the regular Daleks is just like, yeah, just yoked, just hyped.
Yeah. Every time he's like exterminate. Like, granted, exterminate is generally a pretty aggressive phrase.
Yeah.
But it's this one has like a. Yeah, he has like a deep, like gruff voice, and so he's just like, exterminate, exterminate, and you're just like, whoa,
what's wrong with you?
He has a cold.
Yeah, jeez,
rebel, Jersey for life.
I love the gold and white disco Daleks so much. They're so silly.
Oh man, one of them had wood paneling, and that one was my favorite. It looked like a 70s station wagon.
I really like the white Daleks as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like cool Dalek mythology in this episode.
Yeah, like low key, this is
I'm
just a listeners. You know, even if you normally just listen to our recaps, I really would go back and watch this because it's just there's just low key great Dalek designs. Like I would argue these white Daleks, if you know, are way more of effective reband than like the Power Ranger Daleks that they tried out.
That though that being said, I still really want to see the Power Ranger Daleks come back.
Oh, nothing would make me happier.
Really bad. Yeah,
it's like
it would be awesome. It would be awesome if they came back. And much like this story, they were just like all at war with each other.
Yeah, I really liked like when they were getting into like the Renegade Daleks and the Imperial Daleks. I'm like, yeah, I really like these these morons fighting each other. That's amazing.
Yeah, because it makes sense because Daleks think they're superior to each other, like or superior to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, after wiping everyone else out, wouldn't they just start turning on each other and just being like, "I'm more superior than you"? Yeah. That just seems like an accurate thing that would happen.
I have wood paneling.
Yeah. I
am disco.
Somebody call the BBC and tell them to make a Dalek Civil War.
Like Dalek Peaky Blinders.
Awesome. Yeah, let me into it. There's this really weird scene that I am not a big fan of, where the Doctor sits down with a dude at the diner and like goes over the philosophy of tea, and they're like,
oh right,
they're like low key talking about how colonialism is good. It's real weird.
Which is kind of like been the brand for this season of our show, is like realizing that the Doctor does come with a lot of like colonizer baggage that we haven't really addressed or really noticed before.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that conversation made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. He's like, yeah, if we hadn't been colonized, I'd still be an African. And it's like, okay, well,
that is. I don't feel like we're supposed to take that as like a bad thing, though. Like, because he explicitly says, like, you know, my ancestors were kidnapped and chained to other human beings and stuff. Like,
Right. There was some acknowledgement of
Yeah,
like
so
the sins of the past.
Yeah. But he was just so chill about it, and like had like a big smile on his face the
Yeah.
whole time.
Well, sure. Yeah, and that feels just a product of that part in particular feels like a product of the time, which is that we weren't really
Yeah.
acknowledging pain yet.
Yeah.
Events, yes, pain not so much, you know? Like and yeah, but it is cool anytime the show does choose to remark on, like, for example, this was kind of the first time I really got why the Doctor doesn't like the Daleks, and that how strongly the Daleks represent fascism in this story. And that the Doctor is like championing against that. But I don't know, for some reason in this story it felt more, I got the ideology of it more than just like the, you know, Bugs Bunny running around the Elmer Fudd's army of Elmer Fudd's, which is what the Daleks are.
Right. That's true. They're like robot Elmer Fudd's. If they ever did if they ever did a Looney Tunes crossover, it would just be like, they would just be a bunch of Elmer Fudd's and Yosemite Sam's.
Yeah.
And Bugs Bunny would be the Doctor.
They would look great. They're so like round and like big.
Yeah.
They would look good. They would look good,
be-
like Chuck Jones style.
Yeah, totally. That'd be awesome. So there's this one thing that happens in this story that is really the most baffling moment, I think, of the whole. Well, maybe not as baffling as Scarrow blowing up. Spoilers for later, but still pretty baffling. Which is, although I guess it could, maybe it's the suggestion that this is a different universe and not our universe. Maybe they ended up in like a weird pocket universe, but there's this whole bit where Ace is stuck, like staying with this old lady, this lady that she's not allowed to like.
Yeah,
go hang out
okay,
with
yeah,
the
because the
military
Doctor's
people.
like, stay here where it's safe. I'm like, who
Right.
do you think you're talking to?
Right. She's got
Right.
bombs in her back. She is good to go.
She took out a Dalek with a bazooka.
Yeah.
With like only a vague understanding of what
bat.
it was. And a bat.
Yeah. So that happens in a little bit, but she sneaks out. She's like, "Hey, I'm going out for a walk," and the lady's like, "All right, have fun," because she's like already adopted Ace, and
Just, as have I.
Ace leaves. Ace leaves, and we sort of we push in on the television as she leaves, and a BBC announcer is like, "And now for the premiere of a brand new science fiction television series, Doctor," and then it cuts off. And what?
Yeah.
There's a Doctor Who show in canon with Doctor Who. It's weird.
Yeah.
Super weird. Super weird. But it does mean that one day they could do that story that I really want to happen, which is that the Doctor shows up in the land of fiction, and he's like in the world of like classic Who, and everything is cheap and the sets are bad and wobbly, and
Yeah, man.
and he's like, "What is going on?" He's like, "Oh no, the Daleks!" But they're just like really like crappy and rubber monsters and everything. I really want that to
that'd
happen.
be great.
But yeah,
What was the name of the monster that we met a couple days ago that like lived in the sewers and like had mind control? There were crabs.
Makra?
The Makra.
Oh, the Macra. Yeah.
If they ever meet the Makra again, I think it would be just scary if they looked exactly as they did in like the old ones. Like I don't want them to look modern.
Yes. Oh my god, I would love that so much.
Welcome back.
So yeah, Ace takes out a Dalek with a bat,
Which is like such a intimate death for a Dalek.
Yeah, it's pretty killer. We keep. I mean, I know that they're limited on the sets that they can afford and everything, but we keep ending up back in this lab, this lab in Coal Hill School. They kill like 70 Daleks in this room over the course of the story.
It's the most video game I think the show's ever gotten.
Yeah, no, totally. It's like when you find that spot in a video game, we're just like, oh, I can hide in here, and they'll just walk in. They'll walk in, and I can just
damn,
and then just keep waiting. Yeah. It's pretty great.
What if anytime they got attacked, their go-to phrase was "damn"?
I would love them more than I already do.
Damn, 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 damn.
Ace gets surrounded by a bunch of Daleks.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know what she's gonna do.
Yeah, she forgets how to load her bazooka. That's the cliffhanger. Although, like, what a cliffhanger! Because like, she gets like overrun by them. She doesn't like.
Yeah.
They have to bring in reinforcements for this girl.
Right.
It's pimp. It's Remembrance of the Daleks, Part 3. Written by Ben Aronovich. Directed by Andrew Morgan. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Andrew Cartnell. Original air date, October 19th, 1988. The Doctor saves Ace from the Daleks. They manage to defeat the Imperial Daleks who have won the Hand of Omega from the Renegade Daleks. The Doctor and Ace destroy the Transmat, and the Doctor teaches Ace about the Time Controller, a method that the Daleks have created to use time travel in that trademark Dalek style. The Doctor, Ace, and the human military began to fortify Coal Hill School before they're under siege by two factions of warring Daleks. The Doctor muses that the impending Dalek invasion probably won't even affect Coal Hill School, as it's too far away from the center of conflict. Seconds later, an Imperial Dalek shuttle crashes into Coal Hill School.
Yeah, I mean, part 3, the Doctor takes out the Daleks with like his weird confetti ray gun.
Yeah.
And like just fries them. Like it freezes them, and then the the pilot guy, I don't know, the guy with the pilot bomber jacket, whatever. He like runs in and like puts a bomb on one of them and is like, "Let's go!" And then they leave, and then they blow up.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
Remember me?
Yeah.
Recuerda me.
We find out in this one that the creepy girl is a Dalek spy.
Yeah, kind of like. Did anyone else get like Fear Her vibes when that happened?
Oh, interesting. No,
I don't know. When just a girl getting little girl getting possessed by an alien mind, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a better version of Fear Her.
It's not hard to be a better version of Fear Her, though.
Yeah, everyone listening to this is a better version of Fear Her.
Children of the Corn is a better version of Fear Her.
Oh, I love Children of Men. Directed by Fritz Kirsch.
I think my favorite thing in this story is the time controller, which in typical Doctor Who fashion is the 80s equivalent of bubble wrap in a plasma globe.
I love it.
Somebody went to Spencer's and was just like, "This thing's cool."
You know what? Wes Anderson would get a kick out of Doctor Who.
Oh my God, Wes Anderson. Oh man, I want a video of like what if Wes Anderson directed Doctor Who.
Yeah, let's do it. I can't tell which specific episode this was in, but since we're just bringing up favorite parts, my favorite thing in the whole episode, yes, dear listeners, even more than Ace, is when they roll out Special Weapons Dalek.
Yes.
That's part 4. That's part 4. Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
The time controller's in part 3.
I don't know.
That's why
I watched them all in a big chunk this morning. I don't remember what was in what part.
Well, I take notes.
Well, the TARDIS,
you monster.
Well, the TARDIS wiki usually breaks it into parts for me, and this time it didn't.
Well, whose fault is that?
TARDIS wiki's fault.
Thank you, Cass, for not making me say it.
Obviously.
So I love that time controller because it's so stupid in the 80s, and it's everything I love about
they're still cool.
Doctor
it's like
Who.
30 years later, and those things are still cool.
Yeah,
there is something really. I mean, I really think it just goes back to that old film nerd argument. When stuff is tactile and you can hold it, and it's obviously like a physical effect, it looks cooler. It's like more of a trick.
Have they? Serious question. Have they ever used one of those? The other thing. It's like they are brother and sister at the Spencer's Gifts. It's the plasma globe, and then the little pad of like needles that you put your hand in or your face in, and like makes the form of your face. Have they ever used that in Doctor Who? Because
I thought for a second you were going to say lava lamps, because that is also like the trifecta.
Sure.
You could fit a real Dalek in a lava lamp
Yeah. Like
Those weird, like the actual physical, like the squid thing.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I should have. That's a weird way to word it.
Now I want a like Dalek mutant lava lamp, like
Yeah, just like
with
floating,
like weird eyeballs and stuff.
Yeah.
I want that.
like a little squid belly.
Into it. Yeah, I don't know if they've ever used one of those needle pad things. I don't know what those are called. I only know that this thing is called a plasma globe because I looked it up.
What did you like? Lightning?
Yeah,
ball?
I was gonna say good call. I don't. I saw. I feel like I might have saw one. I might have seen one of those in this episode, but I remember very recently not knowing what one of those things was called when seeing it.
What, a plasma globe?
Yeah.
It wasn't this episode. That's what we're talking
Okay, good,
about.
good, cool. But literally, it was that. It wasn't even like it looked like it was a plasma globe. Like they bought it.
Yeah. They just went to Spencer's Gift and bought it. That's what we've been talking about.
I guess I didn't realize that you were being like that literal. I just now made the connection in my head. Like, yeah, that was literally a plasma globe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. I was giving this show like, well, surely not that.
So, plasma globe, technically invented by Nikola Tesla,
And the Daleks.
but turned into a college dorm room's best friend by a student at MIT.
Mm-hmm. Just as Tesla would have wanted.
Yep, just as Tesla would have wanted. Absolutely. Edison's getting all the credit, but your stuff becomes novelty items.
Why are you people still using gasoline? Is what he would say.
See, I know that while you were doing a Nikola Tesla impression, I know that you were actually doing a David Bowie impression.
That's the only thing I could do. I literally was like, what freaking what accent was he doing in that?
Okay, so part 3 ends with a Dalek shuttle landing, which I'll be honest, looks real cool.
And all of their tech looks really cool in this.
Yeah, I was into the Dalek ship landing. I thought it looked really good. Cheap special effects wise,
And
I thought it was pretty impressive.
And going back to what you said at the very beginning about this being a little bit darker and darker meaning something different now than it kind of maybe did in the past. There is a real like grit to this episode. Certainly not in a little bit in the story, but it's a fun story. It's not oppressive. It's not bleak. But yeah, there is just like some grit and dirt to everything. And like the Daleks look really kind of cool and more military than usual.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a cool look for the show, especially like in this era.
That all being said, this episode literally ends with the Doctor mugging the camera and going, "I think I may have miscalculated."
It's almost like they're letting you know, like there's still gonna be like a little bit of Radagast, like going forward.
Yeah, it just feels like there was like one of those what are those whistles called?
The
like
slide whistles. Yeah.
Slide whistle.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a kind of slide whistle dude when he's not like when he's not in aggro mode. He kind of does have that kind of sound to him.
Yeah.
Like with the tie.
Yeah. I may have miscalculated.
Bully. Like fixes his little hat.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a Bugs Bunny moment where like Bugs will just like turn to the camera and just be like, "No, what's with this guy?
Ain't I a stinker?" And he just pounds that carrot. He would just go straight through a carrot.
Yeah, he would.
Remembrance of the Daleks, Part 4. Written by Ben Aronovich. Directed by Andrew Morgan. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Andrew Cartnell. Original air date October 26th, 1988. The Imperial Daleks destroy almost all of the renegades, leaving only a single Supreme Dalek alive. The Imperials take the hand of Omega to the mothership, planning to take the hand back to their home planet of Skaro. Ace follows the human traitor Smith to the time controller. The Doctor learns that Davros wants to use the Hand of Omega to destroy the Time Lords, but upon using the hand, the sun of Skaro goes supernova, destroying the entire planet for the rest of Doctor Who history forever. Smith captures Ace but is killed by a little girl being controlled by the Supreme Dalek. The Hand of Omega is returned to Gallifrey, and the Doctor convinces the Supreme Dalek to end his own life. It's not hard. The Doctor and Ace attend Smith's funeral as the Doctor ponders if what he did today was truly good.
So, episode 4 starts with one of the soldiers just being like, "Is that the mothership?" And I'm just like, "Oh, you poor ignorant child!" Like,
there's so many more of them up in space.
Yeah, this is such a small ship. Like, is this the mothership?
How sad would that be? Witness our full force, and it's like 30 of them.
Yeah, it's just like a dozen Daleks.
Ace just eyeballs it and chucks a firecracker into the hatch.
Yeah.
Damn.
So this is you talked about it. You almost brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
But we get the special weapons
Dalek
in this. I guess Doctor Who fans really love this thing. I think it's an ugly, stupid looking eyesore.
I love it so much. It's so stupid.
I love how excited they get when he rolls out. It is a little he's their Donnie Donowitz in Inglourious Bastards. He's he's just got a tank top on. And they're kind of ooh, they're yeah, go, I'm Special Weapons Dalek. And he's I'm Special Weapons Dalek. He's he's stupid. Yeah, he's very big and bulky, and his head is different, listeners. His head is kind of like a saucer more. He looks like a tank.
Yeah.
He looks like if Michael Chiklis was a Dalek.
What?
He also kind of, looking at him on Google, he kind of also looks like the robots in the black hole a little bit.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
But anyway. Yeah.
I mean, the black hole is very Doctor Who-ish.
That's true.
In general. So, that,
but yeah,
they
that
even
works
meet
out,
Satan.
I think. Yeah.
That's true. Oh, I love that movie as a kid. Yeah, I just was really into Satan, I guess, when I was a kid.
I want to make that I want to make that Kevin Smith metal noise, but I can't. I can never do it. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that I can't ever do that. My tongue gets all tied up.
Oh,
I can't ever do.
I can't roll my R's, and that's brutal for someone who's supposed to speak Spanish.
Oh man, McCoy, he rolls his R's like nobody's
he's so good at it. I want him to say rheumatism.
Rheumatism.
Yes.
I had a Spanish teacher who yelled at me until I could roll my R's.
Oh, so that's what I needed. I needed someone just to push me. I needed So what? Special? I can't even. I'm struggling really to remember. So yeah, he blows up. He wrecks some renegades. I mean, he really.
Yeah, well, he sneaks onto the Dalek shuttle, and the disco Dalek starts freaking out. And he's like, "You are the enemy of the Daleks." Which, by the way, how has there not been a Doctor Who episode called "The Enemy of the Daleks"?
Right?
I'm just saying.
Because
I know.
Save it.
And he just starts freaking out, and the Doctor's just like, "Hold this, please," and puts his hat over his eye stalk. And
that's great. Yeah.
Opens up a compartment, pulls out some Christmas lights, and then puts two lights together, and the Dalek freaks out and shuts down. Yeah,
it goes that bad for him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's
really
perfect.
putting a hat over the eye stalk renders the whole Dalek blind.
Apparently.
Oh my gosh.
The Daleks have no depth perception.
We haven't
apparently.
even talked about how silly the Emperor Dalek design is, because it it makes special weapons Dalek look like a Michelangelo. Like it's so dumb.
He has like a big round, like kind of like Marvin the paranoid android kind of head. Or like
it really, honestly, Emperor Dalek just looks like Pope Dalek.
Yes.
Instead of a pointy hat.
And
it's like a little
Yeah.
Pope-mobile. Like, as we find out later, it's like
literally
a Pope-mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little Pope-mobile.
But yeah, you're right. No, and like it's going back to that other like exterminate. This dude also has a very different is coming at it with a very different energy than the other Daleks vocally.
Yeah,
He has a different. He's like an octave higher than the other ones.
Yeah,
it's great.
But
I liked him too.
We reveal that the Emperor Dalek, who's in charge of the Disco Daleks, because there's the Blue Daleks. The person in charge of the Blue Daleks is, you guessed it, the Black Dalek. For some reason, doesn't compute. I just love the Black Dalek being in charge of the Blue Daleks, and it's just such a weird.
It's like they're like the Canadians in South Park. It's just like they just have such like a weird. Like, yeah, of course that one's in charge of all the blue ones. Why not? Just this obsidian Dalek that we've never seen before.
But yeah, the Emperor Dalek lowers its Pope-mobile shields and reveals that it is in fact Davros, who has been drinking a lot of black Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm. Papa Davy.
Papa Davy's got a bad case of black mouth.
Papa Davy.
It's real bad.
Someone has to have one of them has to have like a handkerchief, like at all times.
And Papa Davy, when the Pope-mobile opens up, he's just in there, just covered in wires, like he's in the middle of rewiring this thing. Just like, yeah, he's just like, no, it just looks like he caught him rewiring this thing, like he was about to like steal this Dalek that he's in.
Yeah. So,
there's wires everywhere.
Does it count? Does this count as a twist? If the leader of the Daleks was actually in charge of a party of Daleks, what's it? They were renegade. These are the renegade ones, right?
No, these are the Imperial ones. So they're the ones in charge, and then the black and blue ones are the rebel Daleks.
I guess it's just like, wouldn't we assume that Davros was in charge of this, or was at the head of this?
Yeah. Actually, the Terry Nation estate was really upset about how little Davros was in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They wanted him introduced earlier because they thought it was disrespectful to the character.
This is a character that deserves the full breadth of an episode.
Yeah, right.
I could see that, I guess.
So they were really upset. The Terry Nation estate also why Remembrance and a bunch of other Dalek episodes aren't streaming on BritBox.
Thanks, guys.
It is because they think that having them streaming on BritBox would take away from DVD sales, and they think they would make less money.
Whereas history is taking away from DVD sales.
Right. Correct.
And it's a big fat stupid bummer, because I think more than any episode we've talked about this season or volume on the show, this is an episode that I think so many newer generational fans of the show would really get a kick out of.
Yeah, I think so. I love the Doctor mocking Davros. I think it's
great.
Probably one of my favorite things, where he just makes fun of him.
Very Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, absolutely. What would Davros be? What Looney Tunes character would Davros be? He'd be Yosemite Sam?
Yeah.
Daffy Duck.
I think the Master's
Oh,
Daffy Duck.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, fair. Yeah. No, that's fair.
And then Missy is like that girl duck from DuckTales, Morgana! Full circle.
I kind of. My favorite bit of this is when the doctor is like gonna blow up their mothership, and Davros is like, oh no, and then he just backs up into a shuttle and pieces out, and just like leaves all the Daleks there to die. He's a bad leader.
Yeah, Papa Tabby he's not a good dad.
No.
Which is sad because the dogs love him so much.
Yeah, he just pieces out in his Pope mobile.
Yeah.
He's out of there.
See you in 2006, you jackasses, or whenever.
And then later than that, I think, like 2008, right? Mm-hmm. 2008. He didn't show up until series 4. But then the Dalek, the little girl Dalek person shows up and uses her force lightning to kill the pilot guy, who we forgot he like went kind of crazy and like kidnapped Ace, and
that's why we don't
he was
like
him.
him.
Because he was like accidentally working
also
for
he
the
was
Daleks.
a freaking neo-Nazi.
It turns out
that's right.
Yeah, it turns out that whole the resistance or whatever, the group that was the administration that was working for them were fascists.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I'm all for exposing children to the dangers of fascism.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very
Fascist.
timely. Like, I wish it wasn't, but it's kind of timely. Like,
And you know what? Again, and another reason why this episode should be available for streaming. And what better combatant, what better enemy to fascism than like a super punk rock girl with like a bat and like and a boombox?
Heck yeah.
It's very 90s.
For street cred.
For street cred.
And then, in one of the darkest moments, I think, in
this is
all of Doctor Who, the Doctor just like Hannibal Lecter convinces this Dalek to kill itself. He just like walks up to it and it's just like, all your friends are dead.
What?
Your leader's dead. He betrayed you.
No,
everyone you've ever loved is dead. You should just kill yourself. No. Why don't you just kill yourself, Dalek?
Recuérdame.
And then it just spins around and kills itself.
And severs the connection.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever really...
And it burns into like a pile of ash, and he like walks up, and of course it's like ash to ash, dust to dust. It's like, you don't need to be that extra, Doctor.
Yeah, he does.
Like, good Lord.
You killed one Dalek.
Have you seen that freaking sweater vest? Yes, he does need to be that extra.
Fair enough.
Man, we don't ever really go back to that girl, really, and like check in on her.
No. I mean, she's not brainwashed anymore, so she's better, but she's crying, and Ace is like, there, and then they go to a funeral, and then they don't go inside, they just leave.
Yeah. Weird. I'm never okay. It's always so weird when one of these ends on a funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess this is what the next step would be, but I don't want to see it.
Can we skip this, please?
So go Ace. 1,000 years of Ace. 200 episodes of Ace.
Heck yeah.
Really, really good episode.
Yeah, I'm glad you like Ace, because she's not going anywhere ever. She still hasn't. She's still the Seventh Doctor's companion.
No.
So anyway, that's Remembrance of the Daleks. It's a fun one. It really is.
I wish it was more readily available. That's a shame. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't either. I just took it for granted that it would be on BritBox.
Yeah, it wasn't until we tried to watch it that we realized it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Next week, we're back with the Eighth Doctor again.
Yeah. Another audio adventure, right?
Right. Minuet in Hell.
Ooh.
It's a very extra title.
Yeah.
I love that companion.
Right?
The Aviatrix. Can't remember her name right now.
Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie Pollard.
Get to hear that. Get to hear those sweet dulcet tones of 8.
Yeah. Paul McGann. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I really do love Charlie, but knowing that Lucy Miller, my favorite companion, is on the other side of Charlie.
Oh. See, I haven't heard Lucy Miller yet. So I'm like all about Charlie.
No, Charlie's great, but Lucy Miller's my favorite ever. So
I've noticed that we tend to like the weird ones, companion wise, and I feel like with New Who, as much as we love them, they're kind of, with the exception of Bill, it seems like they've all kind of been trying to be cool. Like, they're the cool, they're sexy, they're like the millennial arms crossed, and it's like, no, I like Jamie, who's like scared and
and overwhelmed
constantly. And like Ace, who like walks around with like a bat sticking out of her backpack and like has a boombox on her shoulder for street cred. Like, I don't know. So maybe hopefully with 13 we kind of get those like oddballs back a little bit, that energy.
I mean, she's definitely got a full TARDIS, so
full TARDIS.
Why not? We got room. That's for sure.
Oh, that's revived. Just like, get in.
Get in.
Get in here.
One of us. One of us.
It's just her.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, Minuet in Hell next week.